Okay, so take two. Sorry, just realized that apparently halfway through my last video on the Google Doc attendance sheet that I lost audio and didn't know it. So that's great. I love technology. So I'm doing it again. But the best part is I don't even remember what I was talking about and what I didn't talk or what you didn't hear. So I'm just going to start over and some of this information you may have heard before, some of it you may not have, but I don't know. So this is our Google Doc sheet that I do for our attendance. Attendance is tracked for both attendance and tardiness. So if you're absent, please let me know as soon as possible so that we can try to get things made up for you. Um, if it's a lab that you're going to be missing, let me know as soon as possible, and I have no problems having you switch to one of the other lab times. We have 4 different lab times for this semester. If you're in that Friday at 8 o'clock lab and you're feeling sick and you're going to miss lab, unfortunately, I don't have any other times available. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to miss lab that week. And that's a really big deal. A lot of you are hands-on learners, and the lab is when the concept for that week finally clicks. So I don't know if you're in that Friday lab and maybe you're starting to feel sick on like Tuesday, like let me know and maybe you can stick around and do the Tuesday at 12 lab or something so that you can sleep in Friday. I only let y'all change lab times once, but I do ask that you let me know and RSVP with me because if you want to do the Tuesday at 8 lab, but I already have somebody else jumping in there, I don't want to have more than 8 students in the lab. So just let me know and I'll be flexible, let you know when you can come in. If any of you have any vacations planned during this next semester, which, oh my gosh, I hope you don't. But if you do and you know you're going to miss like a Friday or a Tuesday or something, let me know again as soon as possible and we'll get that made up. Now, lecture on the other hand, for the spring semester, it's going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays. I actually think my fall semester is also Mondays and Wednesdays. So that works out good. But the lab times in the fall will be different. But I'm doing this talk for the spring group, but the fall groups are going to watch this too. Obviously, you don't have MLK Day, but you do have like Thanksgiving break and Veterans Day and stuff like that. So this is going to be similar, but it will be slightly different for whatever semester you are that you're watching this. But nonetheless, hey, welcome. This is going to be great. So, like I was saying, if you are going to miss a lab, let me know as soon as possible. We'll try to get you in to a different one so that you're not missing that material. But if you're going to miss a lecture, so this is week 1 lab, whichever lab time you are, these are color coded for the lab times that they're in. And the lectures are listed here. So this is week 1 Monday, week 1 week what did I just say? Week 1 Monday, week 1 Wednesday. You'll notice that on week 3, on Mondays, we start to have a little asterisk next to them because we have a quiz on those days. So once we get rolling, I'm going to have a quiz almost every Monday. It's going to be a 20 question test, 20 points, 20 questions, 20 minutes. So if you have any accommodations, please let me know as soon as possible and I can get you set up for that. But otherwise, you will be only allowed 20 minutes. And as soon as 20 minutes have elapsed, we will be getting into the lecture. I usually go over the test, but then we're going to be going into the lecture for that week for the next topic. So I say like the first half hour of every Monday is going to be kind of like test. Um, 20 minutes for the test, 10 minutes to go over it, answer any questions, and then we're moving on. If you have accommodations, please let me know and I'll have you meet us like maybe 15 minutes into the class period. So if it's a 9 o'clock class, I want you there at 9:15 so that when we go over the test, you're there and ready in case everyone else is done at 9:15. But again, that's a side note and only for particular students. So if you have accommodations, I strongly recommend you use them, especially for this class with the math. But you just need to let me know and get me that official accommodation letter so I can set up everything legally on my end. Anyways, Um, if you are going to miss a test day, big problems. Not ideal. Let me know again as soon as possible and keep sending me reminders because I forget things that happened 5 minutes ago. So, keep letting me know that you're going to be missing a quiz, and we will get you to take that test either before or after, whatever we determine is going to be the best scenario for that situation. And then you'll notice under the bright space under our class that I actually have every single lecture recorded. It's not perfect. I've changed them over the years, like the PowerPoints and stuff. Obviously, I it's not a script, so I mean, it's not going to be the exact same thing that I did in class. But if you ever miss a class, good news, there's an entire lecture already pre-recorded that you can watch and hopefully not get too far behind. You can also, what I would recommend is having a buddy and asking them to record the lecture, whether it's just audio or hopefully they're not recording me because I don't want to see myself. But um, and hopefully they can share that information with you and their notes and yada yada. Um, but like I said, if you're missing a Monday for a test day, let me know as soon as possible so that we can get that test rescheduled. So you're not docked points on missing a test. Uh, if you are a no-show on Monday and you don't give me any kind of notice that you're not going to be there, imagine if I did that. You guys would all be probably pretty ticked off if your teacher was just not there and didn't even let you know and you just drove all the way there, right? So this is to get you ready for the professional world. If you are going to miss class or if you feel sick early Monday morning, send me a remind message as soon as possible. I ask for a remind message because, like I said, I don't check my work email on my phone. I try to have some work-life boundaries. But you could also send me an email, but also send me a remind to let me know that you're not going to be there, and we'll get it set up as soon as possible for you to take the makeup test. Usually, if you are missing a test, you have to take it the next day you're on campus. So if you're sick Monday or maybe you have a flat tire Monday, everyone seems to get a flat tire in this class. It's fine, I get it. Um, if you're going to be on campus on Tuesday for another course, you need to take the test on Tuesday. We won't wait until Wednesday. Now, however, if you have, say, God forbid, COVID or something, and you're out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, get me a doctor's note. We'll have it be known as an excused absence. I really don't give out excused absences very often, but like COVID for a couple of days, or God, again, I hope not, but like death in the family, those kind of things, I'm not going to count against you. We just need to make sure that the work is all caught up. Anyways, so if you're going to miss a Wednesday, you won't be missing a test, but you will still be missing lecture. It's usually the part of the lecture where things start to click. So I wouldn't recommend missing anything, to be honest. But if you do, the way this works is your class and your lecture and your lab are going to be two totally different grades. So the lab grade you'll see in the syllabus is made up of like the lab checkoffs and any of your homework assignments. And then your lecture grade is going to be made up of tests, obviously, and the final, and your discussion board posts. So I'm going to be keeping track of both of those separately in the grade book. You need to get above a 75 in each of them separately, meaning if you are a really great test taker, but you just for some reason cannot do x-ray, like I don't know why you're still doing this, but if you're like your lab grade is really poor, then you're probably not going to make it through the program, or even this semester I should say. More likely, a lot of you will probably be test taking strugglers. So the discussion board post should hopefully help. You'll see how I'm having you write like a test maker, so it kind of helps you see this side of things, and hopefully that'll help me get better. I also have a quadrillion different study tips. So As soon as you have problems, come see me. We will talk and I will get you going. Just realize that the definition of insanity, right? Trying to do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You have to realize that if what you're doing is not working, you are going to have to be open to the idea of me changing your study habits. So, or whomever, but just be open to it. This isn't high school, you guys. This is literally going to be the hardest thing you ever do in your entire life. Trust me. But if you trust the process, you will make it through. Okay. So, again, see how quickly I get off topic? Okay. So let's say it's week 3 and Bob is absent. You know, his car's not starting or something like that. So he let me know, and we're gonna, make sure he has all the notes, and he's gonna watch the lecture, and he's gonna let me know if he has any problems. But here's the thing, you guys, I am human. I make errors. So it actually wasn't Bob who was absent. It was actually Sue. So what I need you guys to do is you need to check this periodically. I recommend that you are checking this at least once a week, because what will happen, because if you guys don't tell me this stuff until like week 7, there's no way I'm going to remember whether Sue or Bob missed class. I guarantee it. But if you tell me like within the next week, like, hey, Bob lets me know, like, it wasn't actually me who was absent that day, it was Sue. I'll be like, oh my gosh, well, your guys' names are right next to each other. I just clicked on the wrong box and marked it. So please let me know. This is why it's a live document, because attendance does cause you to get points deducted at the end of the semester. And I don't want anyone to not know where they're sitting in terms of points. And also, I want to make sure that you guys are double checking me and making sure that I didn't mess up anything. So if you're absent for the full class, please let me know as soon as possible. Again, remind and email is preferred, especially if it's test day. If it's a lab day, let me know again as soon as possible. We'll try to get you in on another lab, and then I will not mark you absent, even if you're not at your assigned lab time. So, like, for example, these are color-coded. Sue is dark blue, which means she's in the Tuesday at 12 lab. If she on Tuesday is not feeling good and needs to call off, and she gets into the Thursday at 8 o'clock lab, I will not mark her absent for lab. Okay. If she does not talk to me about missing lab that week and cannot come in Thursday or Friday, I will have to give her an absent for that week's lab. Please do not try really hard not to miss lab. That's a big problem. So anyways, so we have absences, and absences are going to align for both lecture and lab. So let's say Sue misses this lecture on Wednesday, but then she also misses this lab and she doesn't do a makeup lab. That means on her third occurrence, whether it's lecture or lab, I'm going to be taking points off. So your grades for lecture and lab are 2 separate categories. I told you what is going to make up those grades. Attendance is across the entire thing. So attendance is across both your lecture and your lab. So if you are missing, 3 labs, it's going to count the same as if you're missing 2 lectures and 1 lab. The whole thing is it's across the board. Attendance is through the entire 1301 program, okay? So let's say you're absent a couple of times, and then, oh man, we got some car problems, and Jimmy is tardy this day. Okay, that sucks. But also, then let's say on this Monday, I'm picking on Sue. Poor Sue. Sue's gonna get a tardy. She came in late for the test. She came in 5 minutes late. Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But remember, I told you you are only going to have 20 minutes to take a test. So this is a test day. So if she has to take that test starting at whatever time class starts, 12 o'clock or whatever, she has until 12:20 to finish that test, period, end of story, and then I'm shutting it down. because I need 10 minutes to go over the test, and then we need to get into that week's materials so that I'm not teaching an entire lesson only on Wednesday. So if Sue is even 5 minutes late, that means that she is going to be starting her test at 12:05, and she still needs to be done by 12:20. So do you see why being tardy, especially on a test day, is a huge issue? God, like imagine if you're 15 minutes late and then you have to try to take this test with 5 minutes. Okay, it just don't do it. So again, in trying to teach y'all professionalism, please try to be at least 5 minutes early for class. The computers, we're going to be in a computer lab the entire time. Um, it sounds great in theory, but the computers are just like blah. They're not the greatest. So sometimes you sign on and it takes like 20 minutes to log in and you're like, what the heck is going on? So you need to jump onto another computer so that you're able to start the test exactly at class time, 11 o'clock, whatever time class time is for us. Um, so make sure you're there like 5 minutes early so that you are logged into your computer with the test screen up so that I can just give you the password and you can start the test exactly on time and use the entire 20 minutes. Okay. Now, so that's why, especially on Mondays, you guys definitely want to be on time. But I want you to notice this. Sue now has 2 absences between class and lab. And now this lecture, she is also going to be late. So the first 2 absences or tardies are between class and lab, like I said, are kind of freebies. The third attendance is minus 5 points. So this Monday, not only is she going to have a super stressful test, she also just lost 5 points off her final grade. Okay. Now, God forbid, let's say she's tardy again on Wednesday. I don't know what's going on this week, Sue. Sue, it looks like you're about to drop. I can tell you that. If she's tardy again here, this one was worth minus 5 points. This one's going to be worth minus 10 points. So now she is missing 15 points off of her final grade. Like I said, not a good situation to be in. So don't like really try not to have any vacations or anything planned during class times for this entire program because I'm telling you, um, you never know when you're going to get sick, when you might have car problems, when there might be an accident on the freeway, maybe a family member is sick, and those 2 freebies go by pretty quick. And if it was me, I would prefer to save those, quote unquote, save those for in case of a real emergency. And if I'm just feeling a little sick, I might throw a mask on and still go to class. Maybe ask about switching lab times because I understand you probably don't want to be doing labs during that. But really try to do everything that you can to not miss any classes in this program. Now, let's say you have like Jimmy here, he's got his 1 tardy here, and let's say he has a tardy in positioning as well. Just so you know, I do not communicate with Yasser in terms of attendance. So that is not applicable in this situation. It is only for my class. So any absences or tardies are only going to be counted on my class. Okay, for that minus 5, minus 10, minus 10, moving on. If you have excessive absences and tardies, I've seen it make students fail. So, like I said, like do everything you can to make sure that you are on time, in your seat, ready to go, no cell phones out, respectable, all of that. Respect my time, I respect your time. If I'm ever going to miss, I will send you all a message as soon as possible because I don't want you all driving all the way out there. So, yeah, I would communicate via Remind. There has been times last spring I had COVID and the flu the same time. First off, it was my first time having COVID, but also I had the flu. Oh my God, it was death. I literally slept, I think, 5 days straight. So most of it was weekend. Maybe it was over MLK Day or something, but I did miss like 2 or 3 classes in a row. And I just sent reminds to everybody and said, hey, nope, not making it. I will record a lecture on WebEx later. and email y'all with what to do. And we're going to have to talk about making up labs on a different day and all of that. So it's a mess. I really try not to miss. So I really hope you guys please try not to miss as well. All right. I already think I'm talking longer than I did on the first one, and I don't even think I've covered as much. So, moving on. I have some color-coded stuff going on in here. Like I said, this is telling you your lab times. So I can see that Bob is yellow. He is in the Friday at 8 a.m. class. So if I click on this tab down here at Friday at 8 a.m., notice that it is yellow. This is going to be where Bob can sign up for his lab checkoff. We'll talk about that in a second. If I come back, Sue is dark blue, telling me she's in the Tuesday at 12 o'clock. So when she does, she needs to sign up for her lab checkoff. She needs to click on the Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Okay, don't click on just any of these. You have to click on the one that is assigned to you. Jimmy, he is purple at Tuesday at 8. So if I click on Tuesday at 8, you notice that again, this is all purple. This is for the Tuesday at 8 lab checkoffs. So we will have 2 checkoffs for this class. You'll have one more checkoff in 1352, but by then it's, easy breezy. It's usually the first one y'all get really nervous about, and then once you kind of figure it out, it's chill. It's easy. It's not bad. It's a conversation. I'm not really I am testing you, but mostly I'm trying to make sure that you know what we're doing in lab and that you can communicate the key concepts to me. Anyways, Jimmy already signed up for his lab checkoffs. As soon as you guys get the link to this, you can do this if you want. Just make sure that you are using the color that you are assigned to. So Sue, make sure that you're under the Tuesday at 12 and signing up for whatever times you want. I do ask that if you sign up for whatever lab time, any of them, at 9:30. Do not sign up for the 9:30 again for the second one. So I don't want people to get stuck at 8 o'clock and, or the 9:30 or whichever one they think is inconvenient. Just do not pick the same time. Technically, Jimmy could have done 9:30 and then also 9:15, but come on, Jimmy, that's kind of shady. Spread the wealth. Let other people get in at a later time so that they can sleep in. Not asking you to go to the full extreme and do 8 o'clock, but just try to be courteous. You're going to be working with your lab group for the entire semester, and it's good to be on a good foot with them. So I strongly recommend y'all exchange phone numbers or emails so that y'all can communicate. And your lab group is probably going to be your first source for any kind of clarification that you may need in any class, to be honest. Usually, the lab groups tend to get pretty close and friendly, and they are form little study groups, and I see them in the gallery all the time studying the STEM building. If you haven't been over to the STEM building, phenomenal study areas where you can actually plug a laptop in and have a closed off, glassed off room. It's pretty cool. But yeah, don't tick off your lab group. So anyways, again, make sure that you are on the day and time, the color that is your lab time when you sign up. And again, you can do this now. I don't care. I really don't care. As long as you guys aren't causing chaos, then that's great. When we go to do lab checkoffs, you will need to bring a calculator and a scrap piece of paper. You will need to be there 10 to 15 minutes early. So going back to our Jimmy's example, just because it says 9:30 doesn't mean he needs to be there at 9:30. He should be there about 9:15, because if I'm running early, I want to get him going so that I'm not running behind for others or tutoring or class or whatever else I'm doing. So please be there early. You do not need to get here at 8 o'clock if you're scheduled for 9:30, but you should be here at least by 9:15 and plan on being there until about 9:45. That will be your entire lab for that day. So this is on 3/17. So if I go to my attendance sheet, you'll see this is going to be this week, Lab 9, right after spring break. This is going to be the week of 3/17. That 9th week of the semester, we will have lab checkoffs, and you will only need to attend for that half hour 45 minutes, right? So 15 minutes before and like 15 minutes to do your check off. I'm very strict on times because I have to get through your entire class and I don't really have any buffer time. So I need y'all sitting right where the dosimeters are when you walk in the room. You'll see it. We'll talk about it when we get to lab. And you guys need to be sitting there with a calculator and a piece of paper and a pen or pencil and your dosimeter on and everything. And as soon as 9:30 hits, I'm going to be looking for Jimmy. Jimmy needs to be coming back into the x-ray lab and meeting me in the x-ray room to do his check off. Let's say we haven't talked about it, but somebody else in the purple lab is Tom. I don't know why I'm coming up with all these weird names. So they're not weird if that's your name. I don't know. Okay. So Tom is signed up for this lab time check off, right? Let's say Tom does freaking amazing and blows it out of the park and he's done in 10 minutes. Jimmy, instead of starting at 9:30, I'm going to have you starting at 9:25. So I need you all sitting 15 minutes early by those dosimeters with everything ready to go because I really need to keep y'all moving because while Tom can move really fast, unfortunately, where's another purple? Unfortunately, Becky was also in this lab group. And Becky's been having a really hard semester, and she actually was going at 9, but she's supposed to only be in there for 15 minutes. But you guys, like, if things are happening, like, I I'm supposed to be your instructor, but I do a lot of counseling, okay? Which I love. I'm there for you guys. I'm not just a teacher. I wanna know all of the problems that you have, and I want to do everything I can to help you be successful. So let's say Becky has a sick family member, and so she starts crying during her lab checkoff, which there is no crying in an X-ray school, but I could understand you crying about that. So let's say I need to spend just another couple extra 5 minutes with her just so she can compose herself and we can kind of talk about things and maybe making up classes or whatever it is. So Tom, instead of starting at 9:15, you're actually going to start at 9:20. Do you see how this can kind of fluctuate? That's why I ask that you are sitting in that area as soon as you get there, at least 15 minutes early, so that as soon as I'm done with Becky, Tom sees Becky coming out. He can't even tell that she's been crying because she had an extra 5 minutes or whatnot. It's 9:20. Tom's going to immediately not ask Becky what scenario she had and ask for any tips. No, we don't cheat. Come on, y'all. So Tom's going to immediately see Becky's come back to the, dosimeter area, and he will just come join me in the X-ray lab so that he can begin. So I shouldn't have to come chase y'all down. We'll talk more about lab checkoffs, but basically your labs are your lab checkoffs. So that's why I have y'all have a lab book, and your lab book is going to have X amount of experiments, and we're going to be doing them according to the syllabus. And this first checkoff will be any of the experiments that we've done up until this week. What did I say? 8 or 9 it was, right? Lab checkoff was week 9. So any of the labs that we did on any of these weeks are scenarios that you could draw for this checkoff. I'll show you guys an example, but it's a little slip of paper that usually has about like 3 or 4 bullets on it. And it'll say on there everything you need to know to be able to do this lab check off by yourself. I'm looking for autonomy. I'm looking for you guys to be able to walk in the room and just do the experiment by yourself. You should not ask me any questions. Trust that if there's something big going on, something bad, I will stop you. Okay, so if you're about to, I don't know, take an x-ray of a hand with a hip technique, I'll stop you and just be like, hey, check one thing, and then hopefully you find it, and if not, then I'll tell you what to do, and then you get points taken off. But don't worry about that. Mostly, I just want you to realize that that's a lot of labs that we've covered, right? So maybe we've done law of reciprocity, direct square law, inverse square law, ISL. Maybe we've gone over subject contrast. I don't remember if we do distortion and elongation and foreshortening in the first half of the semester or the second half. But any of those scenarios are scenarios that you could draw off of this little bucket of fun with all of these different scenarios in it. So on the scenario, will be like 3 bullet points, and it'll say, take an x-ray of some body part. Maybe a hand is a common one that I do for your first checkoff. And you'll need to be able to select a good technique, or it'll have a technique on there for you. Don't worry about that. We will learn all about that. Okay. So if it says select, 55 kVp and 5 mass, you'll type that into the computer and do that. Odds are that will not be a good, perfect technique. We shoot for zeros in this class, which means that you shot literally exactly what the computer was looking for. There was no deviation between what you were looking for and what you gave it. So if that happens, so I'm sorry, if you don't shoot a zero, which probably is going to happen because it's a check off to see if you know how to fix things, then you'll do the correct way of fixing your technique so that you will shoot a zero. Because in X-ray school, there's a right way and then there's a more right way, and I'm going to teach you that. So I'm going to make sure that you're doing it the correct way to really lower patient dose. And then the third thing will be whatever the scenario is. So if it's a direct square law example, I might say back up the SID to 45 inches and now determine what a good technique is. So again, we're going to go over all of this later, but it will tell you what to do. It will not tell you what new technique to do because direct square law is a math equation that you guys need to know like the back of your hand. So it'll tell you like, hey, you're backing it up, so you're changing your SID. Now you need to figure out what the new technique is, and hopefully you can do that so that you can take another picture at another zero and everyone's happy. And then I ask you a couple oral questions, like whatever we're talking about that week. I might say, um, describe the law of reciprocity to me. You have 5 mass selected right now. Can you show me a different way to do 5 mass? Maybe I'll ask you who discovered X-ray and what the date that was on. It's basically anything that we have covered in class and lecture and lab, I should say, because this is comprehensive. The stuff that you guys are learning in week 1, you will still need to know by week 16 and all the way through 1351, 1352, and also all the way till the registry. So if I haven't mentioned it yet, the tests that y'all are going to be having are going to be 20 questions. 15 of those questions are going to be new material from the week before. 5 of those questions are going to be old material. Obviously, your first test will only be over week 1 and 2 stuff, so I guess that's old material. But by week 4, when we have this test, this will be 15 questions of week 3's material and then 5 questions from week 1 and 2. Then, I mean, that doesn't sound too bad, right? But by the time we get to week 8, that means again 15 questions from week 7 and 5 questions from the last 6 weeks before. So I don't really want you guys stressing too much about all the old material, but you need to have it. You still need to know all of this. You should still know who discovered X-ray and on what day, whether it's week 1 or whether it's the last week of the semester. Or honestly, I ask a lot of the same questions in 1352 when you guys come back for me. So this is going to help you because this class is like an onion and the layers all I mean, it literally does like build on itself. So if you don't understand week 10 stuff, you're not going to understand week 11 stuff. So as soon as you have any problems with anything, please let me know. I love doing tutoring. I just need to know if you need tutoring, you need to schedule an appointment with me because I do have another class. My lab, my office hours are listed on the syllabus. However, I'm flexible with that. And if you need any other time, I'm there for you. Um, I even will do WebExes on the weekends or evenings as long as I have enough time, enough notice. And I'm not doing anything else. But just let me know as soon as you have a problem. As soon as you get a test score below 80%, you should come see me because we need to be talking about either whether you understand the concepts or whether the test itself, you're having like test anxiety, and we need to talk about test taking strategies. So um, don't let yourself fall behind, okay? Now, the green columns are basically times that we're going to be off. This week 10 is we're going to be going over radiology grids that week. Unfortunately, we got a new CR system and it does not allow me to do this lab anymore. Luckily, I happen to record this entire lab, which I don't normally do. It's something I want to do in the future, but I haven't been able to do yet. So I happen to record this entire lab on the old software. So I just have you guys watch the video this week. We don't even have lab. Um, but again, we'll talk about that when we get there. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of off that week, but not really. You're still going to be watching it. And we'll still have class, obviously. And then you'll notice spring break is listed, and then these blue ones are practice labs. So usually I do 2 checkoffs and 2 practice labs. At the end of the semester, we're going to be doing course evaluations, and I'm going to be begging you guys to please fill out your course evaluation. I am trying to present this information as best as possible for you. I have interpreted it my own way, and hopefully it works for you and it makes sense to you. But if it doesn't, please let me know. And don't wait till the end of the semester because I'm more than willing to change anything, anything and everything. Even on the syllabus, it's got an asterisk next to it and says instructor has the right to change things. So anything that you have a problem with, or you think I could do better, or it would be better if it was done this way, or whatever, please let me know. Send me some advice, and I will gladly look into if I can't change it this semester, changing it next semester. So, along those lines, last semester, the group in their evals said that they would have liked an extra practice lab. So I've gone in and I've changed the lab book and I have created now 3 practice labs for you guys to come in. The practice labs are when you guys are going to be practicing all by yourself. I will be there. I will be in like the lecture area of the lab, but you will be taking x-rays all by yourself. It is the only time you are allowed to take x-rays all by yourself. Again, practicing autonomy so that by the time you are going to clinicals, you have already taken x-rays by yourself. You can run a room by yourself. You know how to set up a room in detent. You know how to run an experiment. In this case, it's not going to be an experiment. It's going to be a real patient. But it's trying to build up your skills. So down here it says practice lab sign up. These are not required, okay? All 3 of these blue weeks are not required. They are optional. However, definitely notice a huge difference between the people who do the practice labs and who do not. So I have the practice labs listed here. Again, if you want to sign up for it now, you can, but I would just wait until we get closer just to see how you're feeling about the practice lab or about the checkoffs and the labs that we've been doing. Usually, a lot of times the students will sign up with their 6 people in their lab group and just come in for like a half-hour time slot. Usually that's enough. They just kind of want to run through something on their own and make sure, they remember, how to fix a +3 DI or something like that. And they talk to each other. Teaching is the highest form of education. So I strongly encourage this. But it is not set in stone. If I go back here, because I already forget my made up people. Jimmy was in the purple, which is Tuesday at 8, and Sue is Tuesday at 12. But you see that Jimmy and Sue both signed up for the Tuesday at 12 o'clock time. Hopefully Sue's lab group isn't all looking to try to come in at this 12 o'clock time, but if Jimmy not a morning person, doesn't want to do Tuesday at 8, I don't care. You can come in whenever you want. I just ask that you sign up for a time slot, and also don't sign up for more than one time slot until like the day of, and we'll see if we have any extra times. Then you can definitely stick around or come back, or even come on a different day. I don't care. You can come as much as you want. The whole point is to play with radiation. Trust me, it's fun. We'll make sure you're safe. But you're signing up for a half-hour time slot when you're signing up for these. And again, it's you doing whatever you want to do. And you pick the day and the time and who you're going with. Usually I recommend you at least bring a friend because, again, I want you teaching each other and talking about things. But these are not mandatory. They are optional. You can see it on this practice lab week. I only have Tuesday available because I think this is Quiz Bowl week. I think we're going to be in Columbus at the end of the week for Quiz Bowl, which I hope all of you guys take advantage of and start attending. You'll be blown away by how much you know and how much you learn. And I will hound all of you about joining that. And then we have our final lecture. OMG, did I cover everything that I needed to cover for this? God, I hope so, because it's way longer than I thought it was going to be. So anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. Please be checking this link weekly. Like I said, I will put a link on the on our site, but also under the lab tab, which is where your lab manual will also be. And make sure that you're signing up for the correct test out times. Don't take the same times. Don't sign up for practice labs just yet. I wouldn't recommend it, just because things change by that time. And I think that's it. So, anyways, looking forward to seeing you all soon. And thanks for being patient with me while I struggle with technology. And hopefully, we're going to be off to a great start on that first lecture, because you guys will have already gone over all this and known about all this, and I don't need to repeat myself again. So, all right, have a good one, and thank you for listening.